Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way, or the highway. And in the driveway is a nice
Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Gene Edwards. You're watching Lubed. This is week 1 of the news and previews for October the 8th, 2022. That's right, folks. Week 1 news and previews. Doesn't that just tingle your heart? Hockey is back, folks. Oiler hockey is back, and I am ready to see an amazing season out of the boys. A lot of networks talking about, could the Oilers win a Stanley Cup this year? A lot of them are saying that they are Canada's best chance at winning a Stanley Cup. And I believe that as well. But I guess we'll have to wait and see till April. But it all starts here as the regular season will begin on Wednesday versus the Vancouver Canucks. I'm going to get into that and the Calgary Flames preseason games shortly. I do want to cover some news and notes to begin. And as I basically asked the question on my intro, is Holloway ready to join the Edmonton Oilers and be an NHL player? And from what I have seen thus far, 100%. I don't know why I was shaking my head this way at first, but 100%. I went to Penticton. I saw how he played in Penticton. I saw how he was positionally sound in Penticton. And when you actually see games live, you can tend to see other stuff that is not shown on the camera because the camera's following the puck. It's not showing how the player is preparing for thinking ahead. Holloway looked really good in Penticton. And then it doesn't hurt to get a hat trick in the preseason either. So, and then the factors of a couple NHLers being released from their PTOs or sent down on waivers. And I'm going to get into that shortly. But yeah, I will be absolutely 100% floored if Dylan Holloway does not make this roster. I'll be floored. I'll be absolutely shocked. It'd be like, wow, really? And I'd be really just scratching my head like, what did the Oilers brass see that they didn't like? So we'll see. But like I say, I'm pretty sure he's a lock. On Tuesday, October the 11th, the Edmonton Oilers are releasing a brand new streaming service called Oiler Plus. Now, those of you that remember Oil Change back in 2010 when Taylor Hall was drafted, basically this is going to be a similar show to Oil Change where there's going to be cameras following the guys around, probably taking them into their homes and taking them into their livelihoods, and locker room footage and never seen beside footage, but a lot of footage featuring the Edmonton Oilers. However, this time around there is a streaming service price to obtain this content, and they're kind of humming towards the $4 to $10 range. And I'm not sure where it's going to be on, what platform it's going to be on, if it's going to be through the website, but I imagine all that information will be on EdmontonOilers.com on Tuesday, and where you go to get this content. This almost sounds like it's going to be the Edmonton Oilers private platform, because if they're basically deciding and hoeing and humming how much the service is going to cost, I don't think it's going to be an Amazon Prime, a Disney, a Netflix kind of thing. I think this is going to be their own personal platform. So we'll get more information on Tuesday. Also this week, the Edmonton Oilers have hired former NHL defenseman, former Edmonton Oilers defenseman, Steve Staios. He will be a special advisor to hockey operations staff. I can't speak today. But yes, he is basically going to focus on prospect development. So he's really going to be working with the kids. He's going to be the first guy in line to build these guys up to professional status. So he's got a very, very important role because he's kind of he's the first person at birth for their professionalism, essentially. So he's going to be the one. He's the foundation of what these players are going to eventually become. So that's a very, very huge role. So good job, and nice to see Steve Staios aboard. All right, let's talk about some of the releases that happened. On Thursday, the Oilers released Jake Virtanen from his PTO. I saw this coming. I think all of us saw this coming. He looked absolutely lost at the best of times when he was out on the ice versus the Oilers, taking horrible penalties. He just did not look like a guy that fit in this lineup right from the get-go. So, yeah, it's going to be a tough hill for him to climb back into the NHL level. I'm almost doubting that he's going to get an NHL job. I could see him heading overseas to play in Europe. I'm a strong believer in second chances. I'm also a strong believer that if he is innocent, it's too bad that he's going to have that dark cloud, because that's more of an uphill climb for him. Like, he has to really, really impress NHL teams for them to even give him a chance, and that's another factor. That's another thing that weighs in heavily on him. So anyway, good luck to Jake Virtanen in his future endeavors. Also, the Oilers have waived Matthias Yan, Dmitry Samorukov, and Calvin Pickard for the purpose of reassignment to the AHL. Matthias Yan, the Oilers just signed him like 2 or 3 months ago to a 1-year deal, and at that point in time, a lot of us Oilers fans were kind of like, huh? Like, why? Why do we don't really need another, So anyway, he's another player that kind of looked a little bit lost out there on the ice. Wouldn't say as bad as Jake Virtanen, but he didn't look like he fit in either. And Dmitry Samorukov, to be honest, I don't really have much to say about him because I didn't really pay too much to him. And Calvin Pickard, well, he just needs more development, so that's the main reason why he's going back to the AHL. This leaves the Edmonton Oilers with a 28-player team roster as of Friday, with 17 forwards, 9 defensemen, and 2 goaltenders. So it's getting close down to the full roster. I would imagine that full roster is going to be announced either later today, probably after I'm done all this editing and shooting of these videos, or it'll be released tomorrow sometime. But I think we're going to have a pretty strong indicator of our opening night roster within the next 48 hours. All right, let's talk about the previews for the upcoming 2 games. Now, this is going to be one of those odd weeks because I can't really give you an assessment of how they've been playing throughout the regular season because there is nothing to go off of. I can only give you their preseason results and stats and what they've done. I can give you a bit of an injury update on the teams, and I can give you what their next few games are going to look like, and that's pretty much all I can give you. We're going to start off with Vancouver. So Vancouver's preseason record is they opted to play 7 games. Now, teams are allowed to choose how many preseason games they want. They opted for 7. The Oilers opted for 8. Oilers seem to always opt for 8. In that 7 games that the Vancouver Canucks played, they won 2 games They lost 3 and then had 2 overtime losses. So a 2-3-2 record. They are a bit banged up though, and that's very concerning because they start off a road-heavy start as they play the first 5 on the road, which is the first game against Edmonton. Then they head out east to play Philadelphia, Washington, Columbus, and Minnesota. So not an easy start to their 2022-23 NHL season. And it doesn't help that they have Dowling, Besser, Mikhailov, Dermott, and Myers on the injury reserve right now. So this next 3 weeks, I know this is early to say this, but this is season-defining moment for, I think, the Vancouver Canucks of how their season is going to go. If they can prevail through this, I think they will make the playoffs. If they really start off bad, this is going to be one of those seasons that just doesn't go their way. I have them ranked 4th in the Pacific, as I did my Pacific Division preview about a month and a half ago. We'll see what happens. There might be a swap between them and Seattle when this is all done and said, because I'll tell you what, last night watching the Oilers and the Seattle Kraken looked pretty good up until that third period. Like, they were actually outplaying the Oilers. I was actually getting frustrated watching that game. The Oilers, however, did manage to pull it off in the third period, though. So, yeah. Vancouver, we'll see what happens. As far as the Flames go, I think the Flames are safe to say that they will make the playoffs. They're probably likely to get first or second. They're right up there with the Oilers. You can't say enough to their management for what they were able to pull off by getting the players that they did, considering the circumstances they were under. They started their preseason. They opted for 8 games. They had 4 wins and 4 losses, so an average start. Again, I don't put too much into the preseason because it's a game of musical chairs when it comes to players. This guy's in, that guy's in, this guy's out, that guy's out. Like, it's the rosters were constantly changing, so you can't base it off of that, and that's why these are very subjective opinions. However, they have a bit of a tough schedule as they start off Thursday against the Stanley Cup champion Colorado Avalanche. Then they face the Edmonton Oilers on Saturday for one of 3 Battle of Albertas this year. And then they go on the road, they're at home. They're at home to the Knights, Sabres, Canes, and Pens. So they got a bit of a tough schedule as well. But I'd much rather be in Calgary's position than the Canucks' position to start off the season, because Canucks road heavy, injuries. They're in for a tough start to the season. But that's about all I have for you this week. I will see you on Wednesday night as I do my game review of the Edmonton Oilers, Vancouver Canucks, game number 1, 2022 regular season. Let's go, boys. Let's take home the cup this year and have a great year. And I will see you guys on Wednesday night. Have a good night. And as always, and I forgot my coin phrase, as always, stay happy, stay healthy, stay hydrated. We'll talk soon. Have a good one. Keeps bleeding from the words I spit, so sharp, so freezing, so cold. Behold, frostbite, they feeling.